Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? It is Friday. It's Friday then. It is Friday then. How's everyone doing? Print and Chill Fridays, episode 2, I believe. I don't know if we're going to episode this or just kind of put a date on it. Or I really don't know what the plan is with the Print and Chill Fridays. I'm still hashing out the format. If there will be a format, if I'm not quite. Random heater cartridge. What is this? Ooh, a 60 watt. Nice. So yeah, so this is Print and Chill Fridays. It's basically a grab bag of whatever ends up happening. Last week we built this KP3S. And today, I think we're gonna put OctoPrint on it, maybe? It's been a while. I want to fiddle around with it. I want to see if we can push this a little bit faster. We got to work on a profile for it, because I've been printing with it. I printed a few things. I printed a Raspberry Pi case that didn't turn out too well, so it's in the garbage. But I'm watching it print, and I think we can make it go a little bit faster. So we're gonna play with some stuff. But I want to get OctoPrint on it so at least I can monitor it remotely. Because I don't want to put Clipper on it because I got to actually test it. I can't test it if I've modified it. So yeah, so we're probably going to do that. We're going to get something printing. I'm probably going to go on a little rant about Creality. And how I'm getting really disappointed with them. Not just Creality Cloud. So we're probably going to go on a little tangent about Creality at some point. And then also it's an open floor. So if anyone like wants to steer the conversation in a certain direction, chat's open. So if somebody has any questions, they want to talk about anything, they want me to look at anything, shout it out there. This is an open floor Friday. Print and chill. Yep, Creality Cloud, boo. So let's see, how's everyone doing? Let me check the chat. For 350, 250. Oh, talking about V's. In my opinion, V2s, 300 is a sweet space. Hello from Ireland. Doggo is good. He's being mopey. I think my wife's heading out right now with the little guy, so he might just be a mopey little guy. So we'll see. Bondtech hardened steel nozzles with CHT coming soon. That will be interesting because the thing is, with that nozzle geometry, I don't know if clogging might be an issue with filled stuff. But it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see. Thermistor type sizes and how to tell for Clipper. Check the Clipper config docs for examples, and then you have to check the manufacturer to see what you actually have. Bondtech CHT Volcano. In regards to high flow, I've seen the future. Actually, I haven't seen it. I've heard rumors, but I can't talk about it. Was I even allowed to talk about that? Was that talking about it? Was I not talking about it? Am I completely bullshitting you? The world may never know. So, OctoPrint. I've for those that remember, I have one Raspberry Pi left. I got a Pi 4. I got some Pi Zeros, but they're 1, like the first gen Zeros. Like we don't talk about Pi Gen Zeros. So I need to put OctoPrint on something, and I need to build a test bench. I need a single Raspberry. I'd rather do it with a 02. Let's be honest, but unfortunately, getting a 02 right now is a it just doesn't exist. You can't get a 02 right now. No. You can't get a Pi 02. So I'm going to use my Raspberry Pi. We're going to build a little an OctoPrint little install. So that way, when I'm testing these printers, I don't actually have to come down here and see if they're working. I could just, check it with a camera, and I can make nice time lapses for footage and whatnot. Plus, that way I can actually see like what kind of what we're running for like firmware in terms of like accelerations and stuff like that. Like that's one thing I need to start adding to my reviews, because I don't see anyone else really doing it, is when somebody does a review on a printer, they show pictures of it printing. They might show the default like They'll go, okay, this is the Kingroon KPS3. It's 180 by 180 by 180. It can do these temperatures, but you never see it listed with like accelerations and max speeds and like what the firmware has. So I got to look into that, and I don't want to plug my computer into these printers all the time. So we're going to make ourselves an OctoPrint install and a few add-ons, and yeah, we're going to do that. I haven't installed OctoPrint in years, so hopefully I remember how to do this. Apparently they use it. Oh, it uses the imager. Okay, so that's not too bad. Choose OS. What is it under? Other specific purpose. Okay. 3D printing. Octopi. There we go. Octopi stable. Choose storage. There we go. Right. Yes. Yay, there we go. Okay. Is the Pi 02 good for input shaper? Yes, it is. I have a Pi 02 installed in the V minion. It runs input shaper fine. I used it in the video for the tutorial. And then I got a Pi 02 in the Micron. I need to find another one. I need more Pi 02s. I've got project ideas I want to work on. I found a Pi 02 in a local shop, and it felt like a drug deal. And I was told not to tell anyone because the scalpers would come. Do you think a Prusa XL will be able to print fast? Probably. It's a Core XY. Here's the thing. Whenever you see a 3D printer printing fast, right? Let's go back to the AnkerMate, okay? The AnkerMate. Top of the line printer from Anker. It could do 250 millimeters a second. Remember, we took a bone stock on a live stream. We took a complete bone stock Ender 3 V2. Did absolutely nothing to it hardware-wise. I took a Raspberry Pi with Clipper installed. We put Clipper on it, and we were printing at 300 millimeters a second at 5K XLs. The AnkerMate M5, I think. Why M5? There was no M1 to M4. They just call it M5 because whatever. The AnkerMate is 250 at 2500 XL. So any printer can print fast. We're all using, you know, this is a NEMA 17 motor, okay? 99% of printers use the NEMA 17 motor, okay? Pretty much all printers nowadays are running a 32-bit MCU. Pretty much all printers nowadays, at least new ones, are running TMC steppers. So the only real difference you see is kinematics. You got bed flingers, you got Core XYs, you know, there's a few different kinematics, deltas, if you're feeling fancy. But the actual hardware making the printers move, lead screws and belt drive, is the same. The configurations, you know, the Legos are put together differently. But at the end of the day, any printer nowadays can print fast. Now, the difference is a V-wheel bed flinger with a lot of moving mass probably won't move as fast as a lightweight Core XY. Let's be honest there. You know, moving a bed around is heavy. But, you know, if you're willing to accept some ringing, you could sling a printer around pretty fast nowadays. What speeds do I print? Let me pull them up here. So I run a profile that I use on all my Vorons. Okay, so for my Vorons, I am lazy and I use the exact same profile on all my Vorons. It's not the most optimized best profile in the world. However, it is good enough that I can run it on any of my printers without issue. Okay, so let me... Did I not save it? Oh, I might not have saved it. Okay. Might not be on this computer. But anyways, for speeds and feeds, this is pretty much my speeds and feeds here. So if you want to screenshot it, that's what I'm running. But perimeter is 120, infill 140, 300 travels. I pretty much run these speeds and feeds on all my Vorons except the switch wire. So I haven't looked at Ellis's tuning guide yet. I still need to look at that. The Mellow Gemini boards, Pi. On paper, they should work. I know a few people that have them. And they say they work fine. You're not running. It's not a Raspberry Pi. Okay, it's running like an ARM CPU, I think. So you need to. You might run into issues with updating Clipper and firmwares because you have to do it manually. You can't, like, there's no OS install like, you know, Mainsail or FluidPy, for example, or OctoPrint. You have to kind of do things manually. But performance-wise, it apparently is just fine. So it's not an integrated Pi. It doesn't use a Pi MCU. Those speeds seem super slow. It's because I don't run high-flow hot ends. I don't. Like, let's be honest, 120 millimeters a second at 5K XL is still pretty fast for outer wall. I could go higher, but I am legit, like, maxing out my Revos at those speeds. And, you know, you don't actually save that much time going up on certain prints, because depending on the geometry of the print, you might not, you probably aren't even accelerating up to those speeds most of the time. Plus, I like my prints looking good-ish. And again, same profile for all my printers, so gotta put my Wi-Fi password on this. What is my Wi-Fi password? I've got videos on this channel. Go back. I got a video. I'll pull it up here in a second. Of the newly built LDO V2 printing away. That's that. That's that. I am in Canada. I don't know why you have to select what country you're in for setting up the Wi-Fi on a Raspberry Pi. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so like, let's see here, videos. Where is mute? I hate shorts. Did I ever tell you guys I hate shorts? Like, I can't make this full screen. I can't make this full screen. But I don't know. That seems fast enough for me. I need a USB-C cable. USB-C cable. Are you USB-C? You are not USB-C. Are you no? So yeah, I don't know. That looks plenty fast in my opinion. Like I don't print speed benchies. The last time I had a layer shift on a printer, I could tell you was like years ago. Okay? So I don't run my printers right at the edge. But they're, you know, more than reliable for anything I'm doing with them, so I can live with that. I need a cable. How does this plug in? Oh, the other way. So you can plug in there. And then you can power that up. Does that? I don't even know if this board has enough. Powering it off my wall wart or my power strip here. Turn the printer on, I guess, too. Ah! Fan on it's already dying. Wi-Fi is rated by laws and they're different in every country. Okay, that makes sense. I have 2 profiles for ABS, PIF, and fast. See, I don't do PIF, so I kind of like just standardize on a good enough profile that works across the board pretty okay for most of my printers. Like, with that profile, I can print perfectly functional Voron parts on any of my enclosed Vorons. So. There we go. Okay. Now I gotta wait for it to connect. How many devices? Last I checked, I had like almost 20 things plugged into my router or connect to my router. I have way too many Wi-Fi devices in this house. Do you ever try a cross gantry printer? I would like to play with one day. I would like to build one day. We shall see if there's a design or kit or something available at some point. But right now, yeah, we'll see. I would like to play with a cross gantry printer. Again, I'm still looking for an original Ultimaker, so. Have I tested Cura 5? That's what I've been using on this guy. It is Cura 5, actually. So thank you for installing OctoPrint. I don't want to back up. Access control. I don't want a password. Oh, I have to do it? Okay. 1 second here. I did create account. There we go. Oh, save. Next. Okay. Connectivity check. Sure. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've set up OctoPrint. Disable anonymous tracking. Enable plugin blacklist. Sure. Default printer. It is generic printer thingy. Rectangular, lower left, heated bed, axes. Yeah, sure, whatever. We're just gonna leave these standard, I guess. Actually, I should probably actually name it the proper thing. KP3S. Finish. Finish. Ignore. Save, auto connect on serve. Connect. Are we connected? Okay, I think we're connected. G-code viewer, control, home. Hey, it works. Okay. It's been a hot minute since I've run OctoPrint. Like, it's been a while. Give it a webcam. I need more webcams. I need to buy like a pallet of cheap webcams at some point, I swear. Okay. Hey, look, we got... Oh, it's undervolted. Oh, no. Probably because I got it plugged in like a 2 amp wall wart. Cool. There we go. So that is there. So, plugins. Now... Oh, geez, it's been a while. How do you look for plugins? I remember there being a list for plugins on how to find plugins. High support? Ooh. I remember there being a list on how, on plugins. Plugin manager? Get more. There we go. Okay, so what are some essential plugins? This is going to be annoying. I had some random stops while printing and the Pi was undervolted. The shrinkage factor on Voron parts. Oh, okay. This was going around on Twitter there. Voron parts are designed with ABS in mind. Okay. Now, what that doesn't mean, it's not like the parts were designed in CAD and then shrunk X% or scaled X%. The parts were designed knowing that they would be printing in ABS. So what that means is certain dimensions like hole tolerances are scaled for ABS. So that doesn't mean like you need to expand your parts or because the parts shrink X% and the parts are scaled. It's just, you know, the team's been working with ABS printed parts for years now. Oh, here, let me get the music going. Why don't I have the music going? The team has been working with ABS for years now, and we kind of know what sizes you need for certain clearances. The Voron cube, for example. So like, this little test cube has holes in it, okay, on the top and bottom. And what those are for is bearings. So let me grab some bearings here. So, like, yeah, the cube's, you know, 30 millimeters on all sizes, but also it's designed for bearings to press fit into. So, see how that's a 608 bearing, and this is an F695. And if your sizing is right, when you push the bearing in, they should go in with, you know, you should be able to push it in by hand, but when they shouldn't fall out, right? So if you print this out of like PLA or PETG or carbon fiber nylon or another plastic that's not ABS, you may have to play around with your sizing to make these work.
but these parts aren't scaled for ABS. So like the cube, if you look at the CAD for the cube, it's 30 millimeters. There's no shrinkage there. The parts aren't designed with that. They're designed with like tolerancing in mind for certain materials. So yeah, so you don't, if you print Voron parts out of something other than ABS, you might be okay. You might not have to do anything. For example, Toasty is printed out of CF nylon and CF polycarbonate, and I didn't have to scale the parts. Now, some of the parts were a little snug for like screw holes that I had to like drill out clearance for the M3 screws, but the parts functionally were fine. Big Papa Joey P, my Trident is ASA. I didn't do anything. The parts are fine. So yeah. Widescreen. There's a widescreen plugin. OctoPrint widescreen. Okay, we'll install OctoPrint widescreen. I remember this is coming back to my monoprice select mini. I remember there being a plugin for like getting the information about the printer. Like what your accelerations were and whatnot. Bed mesh visualize. Well, there's no, I don't have a bed probe. How can I have a bed mesh? Cancel object? Yeah, I'll do cancel object. Search. OctoPrint. Cancel object. Install. How are the CF nylon? They're holding up now. EEPROM viewer. That's what EEPROM. It's been a hot minute since I've worked with Marlin and OctoPrint, so the terminology is slipping my mind a bit. EEPROM. EEPROM. Nope. Nope. Why are you going away? Marlin EEPROM editor. There we go. Install. Pretty G code. Pretty G code. Okay, install. I'm not going to do Spaghetti Detective yet. I've never actually used a Spaghetti Detective yet. So, would applying a self-calibrating shrinking factor? Don't. That would screw up because other parts aren't scaled. Like, if you want to like expand or shrink your parts, you're expanding and shrinking the whole part, and not all of it needs to be adjusted. So you might just, your M3 screw holes, you might have to run a drill bit through just to clean them up. I know, for example, for scaling, here's a thing. The V-Minion parts are designed with PETG. So if you print them in ABS, they're a little tight. So what you do apparently, and it works really good, is I print those at 100.5%. So it's a 0.5% size up, and it works. So, in all honesty, print the Voron cube, see if those bearings fit good, okay? And then also print something like the front idler or AB motor mounts. Two parts that fit together, or some of the afterburner. Print some parts that are supposed to like snap together and fit together. If they fit together and your bearings, snap into the cube and don't fall out, and you can put your screws through the holes clean, you're good. Like, again, they're 3D printed parts. They're made by a glorified hot glue gun splooging out molten plastic. You're allowed some tolerance. Exclude region. I did cancel object, exclude region. It's been a hot minute since I've used OctoPrint. Why do you keep going away? Exclude region. I need to set up a time-lapse one too. Arc welder. I haven't played with arc welder. Emergency stop. There already is an e-stop in Marlin, isn't there? Arc welder. Okay, I gotta exclude region. Is there like a list of like the most popular? Oh, here we go. Plugin repos. Sorted by top 10. Bed level visualizer. OctoPrint time genius. Okay. We'll do print time genius. Install. Octolapse. I will play with Octolapse, don't worry. 100, no, not 105. Not 105%. 100.5. You don't need to adjust it that much. Yeah, do not do 100.5. And that's going from PETG to ABS. So you might have to actually, if you're printing with a material that doesn't shrink as much as ABS, you might have to undersize. So you might have, or you might have to like undersize the part. So you might have to go like 99.5. Yeah. Okay, I think that's enough random plugins. So restart now. Proceed. Do you have a Wemos D1 Mini and W? No, I do not. I do not. I'm not gonna play with Arc Welder. Basically, I'm setting this up. We're gonna print a case for this, so I need to find a good OctoPrint case, or OctoPrint. A good Raspberry Pi. But I'm basically setting this up to be like just a Raspberry Pi, well, at least an SD card, with OctoPrint and everything I need. That way, when I'm doing tests on standalone printers like this, I don't have to like deal with SD cards, and like I can actually, you know, monitor them remotely and whatnot. So we're building up a little test bench here. Okay, so we got all that EEPROM editor. Okay, so load EEPROM. Okay. So auto level true, EEPROM true. Okay, so steps. So there's our E steps, and then feed rate. What are we at? So our max feed rates is 200 millimeters a second on the X and Y, 4 on the Z, which that's fine. 100 millimeters acceleration. Okay, so yeah, this is right here. 1,000 millimeters a second accels. Yeah. Have I used Alloy 910? I have not. That's all the Tolman stuff. I don't think I've never used Tolman filament. So yeah, 1,000 millimeters. Okay, what are we gonna bring this up to? Clock Spring 3D Raspberry Pi donut case. Okay, let me search for that. What are we gonna bump these accels up to? Now, bear in mind, I'm actually trying to get functional results out of this machine. We're not speed benching this. 6,900. Nice. Where's that Clock Spring Raspberry Pi donut case? Oh god, no, I'm not doing that. I need something practical. 2K. Okay, you know what? We'll bump it up to 2K. We'll do 2,500 accels. We'll do 2,500. Okay. Retraction accel. What is retract accel? Like the extruder? Oh no, the continuing acceleration, retract. Whatever. I'll just bump them all up to 2,500. Zed's fine and extruder's fine. Turn down for what? You have it at 3,000. You know what? Let's go to 3,000. Let's go to 3,000. No, not 3,000 on the Z. Okay. So save. That it? Okay. Oh, settings stored. Okay, there we go. M500. It's been a while since I've done Marlin. At least you could do this in Marlin. At least you could do this. If you had to go in and actually edit your firmware and recompile it just to do this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Firmware info. We are running. Oh god. Marlin 1.0. By the way, I actually updated the firmware on this. I am running whatever the latest firmware that Kingroom puts out. How's the flex on the gantry? We tested that last week. So last week, here, I'll do it again. So I got my indicator here. Okay, so I believe you guys can see that there. So I've got my indicator. And let's see, oh, it's in a bad spot. There we go. Okay. So let's see here, bring you down until you touch. No. Okay. So this is in thousandths of an inch, by the way. Okay. So control. Oh wait, I gotta home my XMY shit. Okay. So this is 0. Okay. Move. Okay, so it has dropped about 4 thou. Okay, it's about 4 thou it's dropped. So in terms of how much the gantry sags when you move the tool head across, and this is a direct feed tool head, it's got a stepper on it. It's dropped 0.1 mil. So that means when you tram your bed out, you tram it out 0.1 mil. Out of over 180 millimeters, somebody do some Sakatoa, and it works out to absolutely diddly squat. Yeah, not an issue. Not an issue. You can do, yeah. None of my concern. I am not concerned at all. You should at least run the 2XX bug for it. So for now, until I do the review, until I finish the review on this printer, I am not going to do anything that is not Kingroom. Okay, because I'm reviewing a Kingroom printer. I'm going to review it with the firmware that Kingroom provides, the spool holder Kingroom provides. The only thing I've done, I'm going to control it through OctoPrint because it's current year. At least we can, agree that you want some sort of connectivity. And I have a little piece of PTFE to guide the filament in. So how much does the arm flex up as it extruded? It's a 3D printer, not a rocket launcher. It's not, there's no cutting forces. You think the filament pushing out is going to force it up? How much would arm flex would I be concerned about? It's hard to say. It depends on what you're looking, because here's the thing. Prints are going to be skewed now, right? So if your Z-axis is this, so if your Z is going up, as it travels up the Z, you want your gantry being perpendicular, okay? You want it to come off at a perfect 90 degree. So if you print a cube, it's a cube and not a trapezoid. Is that what it's called, a trapezoid? Either way, you want your cube being a cube, okay? So 0.1 millimeters over 180 millimeters, when you break it down to a 30 millimeter cube, you will probably never notice that difference, okay? Now, if it was like half a mil, you might notice it if you're trying to print something that's kind of tall and you want it to be square. You know, your screws that go through the part might come through on an angle instead of coming straight through. It really depends on what you're looking to get out of the machine. My V-Minion, okay, here's a good example. My V-Minion's bed is out 1 millimeter from the back left corner to the front right corner. I gotta like re-square the gantry in the bed. But here's the thing, I don't care, because the V-Minion does nothing but print random PLA desk trinket parts. I don't print anything that I need to be geometrically accurate on it. It prints Darth Vader buddies, okay? So that first 10 millimeters of the print that's going to be skewed from using bed mesh compensation, I don't care about, because it's you know, I'm just printing PLA trinkets. Now, if I was printing Voron parts on it, or other 3D printer parts that need to be geometrically accurate and a skew over a certain distance you don't want, that's something else to worry about. So the wood chip spool is a bad idea. That's what it comes with, and that's what we're gonna roll with. So okay, so apparently I need to, what was the Marlolo's screwless snap fit Raspberry Pi case? It's on Thingiverse. Gary, thank you for becoming a member. And Taff Fox, member for 10 months. What are you going to do with the E3 V2? Funny question. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's get a print going first. Marlolo's. Okay, well, Thingiverse search sucks, so... Okay, I gotta use Google. So this? Is this what we're gonna use? Okay. Oh my, 57 versions. Wait, which one do I use? There's like 20 different ones here. I ain't got time for this. David's here. Everyone say hi, David. There's some cool... We're not using Creality, Kyle. Let's go to printables. I like printables. Printables and Thangs are my two go-tos right now. There you go. Toolless pie case. Nice and simple. Easy. Wow, that's a very simple case. Case for Raspberry Pi. Maybe this one. Oh no, that mounts the stuff. I don't need one that mounts the stuff. Yeah, we'll just do this one. Why not? 10 files. Top with slots. Bottom. Oh, it's like... No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Most popular. Ooh, that looks cool. Let's go with this one. Case cover hex. We want hex. Hexagon is bestagon. Remember that. Oh, Pi 4. Hexagon is bestagon. Remember that. Okay. So let's load up some parts on the King Room. Does the Rona Plague start with a headache and a runny nose? Maybe? I haven't got it yet, so far I've been kind of lucky. Rotate. Lay flat. Yeah, I've managed to avoid the Rona so far, so hopefully that continues. I like not having a global pandemic plague. That is kind of nice to not have. I'll be honest. So let's play with some speeds and feeds, because we're running this stock. So layer height 0.2. Wall thickness 3, horizontal expansion 0, Z-seam back. Okay, whatever. Z-seam relative. Okay. Top bottom thickness 4, that's fine. Infill 15 cubic, that's fine. Printing temperatures 200, that's fine. 60 bed, initial flow 100. Print speed 60. So let's bump these up. These are rookie numbers. Let's go 100. So infill speed 100, wall speed we'll do 80. And then outer wall, we'll drop that down to 50 because that's the outer wall. Travel speed we'll leave at 250. Initial layer speed 20 is fine. Acceleration control. Woo! 500. Okay. So infill accel 2500. Wall acceleration we'll do 2000. Outer wall we'll drop that down to 1600. Because that's the outer wall. That's the one that you're going to see. For tracks, I'm going to not fudge with that because it seems to be working. Same with the fan speed. Don't need support. Now, flow. Now, this is the one thing I don't like about Cura. You have to, like, go in and turn on settings so you can actually fudge with them. So, flow. And flow is... There we go. So, outer wall flow. I'm actually going to drop that just to help a little bit with fitment. Because I noticed some parts that I printed earlier were a little tight. Okay. Are we okay there? I think we're okay there. Slice. Tree supports. And 120. You know what? Yeah, we'll do 120 travels. Or infill. We'll do 120. The thing is, I don't think this isn't a high flow hot end. Or I don't even know what the hot end is. Does the clip need support? Oh! Yeah, that will need support. Let's see here. Where's per model setting? Is this per model settings? Support. Generate support. Oops. I'm not. Oh, it'll do both sides. So let's see. Preview. So we got a little bit of support there, and then over here it doesn't think it needs support, so it needs to be bridges. And I do have, I'm in the way here. Let me move away. I do have bridge settings enabled. One thing Cura does have, I think it does really good, is bridge settings. It has some pretty good bridge settings. So save. Oop, no, I don't have a disk. Save. I don't have a disk. I want to save it to desktop. Prints. Okay. Okay, it's saved to desktop. So now let's go here. Load. Make sure I don't accidentally show you anything you shouldn't see. Upload. Oh. What are you doing? Why are you beeping? Okay. What the heck is going on here? Why do I have two? Undervoltage, shut up. Why do I got two? Okay, whatever. No, why did I hit download? Where's print? Print. Load and print. There we go. Under voltage. Okay, you know what? Because the Raspberry Pi is being finicky, let me find an actual power supply. So, there we go. Let me find a proper power supply for the Pi. There you go. Oh no, that's 0.5 amps. I need something better than 0.5 amps. 0.5 amps. I have a big Chungus one somewhere, and I don't know where. Okay, that's a BlackBerry one. That one's gonna have no power. Where is it? I have a feeling my wife took it. Yeah, I have a feeling my wife took it. 1 second, it's probably in the other room. Un momento. Where'd you go? Ah, here we go. Huzzah. Oh, and that's where my good USB-C cable went. There we go. Okay, so we'll plug that in there. Get the USB cable. Plug that in. Let that boot up. It's a Samsung supercharger, so we should be okay. I hope. We'll see. We'll see. Any chance of doing Clipper config reviews? What do you mean Clipper config reviews? Shlonky Dong, hello there. What's the best infill for stiffness in all direction? Cubic. Or any, I use, is it cubic? Yeah, cubic. I use cubic a lot on high infill. Low infill, I like gyroid. But honestly, they're all within margin of error of each other at high infill percentage anyways. Okay, so we are connected. Upload and print. Okay, so that's kind of annoying. The screen doesn't change when you're controlling it via OctoPrint. It just kind of stays there. Let's get you off the bed so you don't melt anything. Baker Viking, hello there. Can I have two printers of the same clipper, same RPI? You can. You need to install is it Proxmox, Promox. You basically need different instances. It's like virtual machines essentially. You can't just have like, I can't just plug in a bunch of USB-B cables. You have to have different instances of OctoPrint or Mainsail or Fluid running, and each one of those instances connects to the printer individually. So that's how you can run multiple printers off of the same Raspberry Pi. You need multiple instances of the operating system installed, or yeah. So it's not a perfect system, but it's really the only option you have in that regard. I need the camera to actually see something here. Yeah, good enough. Actually, I'll put this here. I don't know if this will work. Might work. Ah! Make it work later. I haven't finished running. What? Pylo voltage when YOLO becomes oh no. Flipper config reviews is a great idea. I'm struggling to get the SKR2 pins in the ER20 config. It's the ER20 config. Oh, for a different printer. The thing is, it really depends on the printer. I've never actually used an SKR2, so I have no idea how the setup is for an SKR2. Like I'd have to like learn all the SKR stuff, but I've never actually used an SKR2. There's no baby step. Okay, well, is there a way to baby step, or do I need a plugin for baby? I remember being able to baby step in OctoPrint. There's the G code. There's the time lapse. I have that off. Cancel objects. EEPROM editor. Pretty G code. Ooh. Oh, look at that go. It's 1.0 firmware. 1.0 doesn't have baby step? Like, all I'm doing is telling it to move up or down 0.01 millimeter. Revo is really tempting me. Do I anger the Voron gods by putting a Revo Voron in an Ender 3? You do you, man. We don't own the Revo Voron. You can do whatever you want with it. That is bright. Yeah, I need to put dark mode on. Yeah, I need a baby step. Needs PID tuning. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably need to drop that a bit. Do it. Do what? Revo for enter. Yeah, there is going to be the CR, the Revo CR. I can't remember what it's called. There will be a Revo variant for Creality printers where it screws in. I'm pretty sure they did a blog post about it. Company blog. I'm pretty sure they did a blog post about it already. I remember seeing it somewhere, or them talking about it or something. No need to screw with firmware. Yeah, you got to keep it simple for the Creality folk. Speaking of Creality, it has been how many days now? Okay, how many days have... Okay, for those that don't know, here's the thing, like, here's the problem. If you're not on, like, Twitter, you miss out a lot on some of the community aspects of 3D printing, right? Twitter is the devil. It's a hive of scum and villainy. Don't get me wrong, it is. But there's also a lot of good with Twitter. It's a lot of open forum with, you know, especially the 3D printing community. There's a pretty good 3D printing community on Twitter. You know, everyone follows everyone. It's kind of cool. But if you're not part of that, you don't see when everyone in that community gets an outrage, right? Unless somebody makes a video, you don't see it because you're only watching the videos, right? Or unless you happen to be on like the Discord or whatever. So TLDR, Creality Cloud is a thing. What Creality Cloud is, it's basically a website from Creality for models, okay? It's another one. Because, you know, don't get me wrong, I like options. I'd rather, it'd be nice if everyone had websites and then they could all compete and the cream rises to the top. But Creality Cloud is kind of, they're not doing it the right way, okay? So how Creality Cloud works, apparently it's part of like their whole ecosystem where it's like you can use it to slice models, upload models, share models, download models, whatever. So problem one, if you want to use their slicer, you have to upload your model to the cloud. Now you have personal storage, but it's a limited amount. If you run out, you have to either delete models or buy more, or you can upload it public. So if I want to slice something like this, you know, Flexi Dragon, that is a paid model, and I go to slice it on Creality Cloud and I don't have any space, or I just upload it public, this paid model is now public. Okay. Max, thank you for coming a member. So there's that. Now another big problem is Creality Cloud. Let's see if it's still there. It's probably still there. Is full of models from, you know, this is an Eastman model. Everyone has printed this Deadpool at some point. There he is right there. But this model is by a designer called Eastman, not user 871-655-3925. Okay. That is not Eastman. Okay. So there are a ton of models on this site that are paid models and not from the original creators. Now, what has happened is people have realized this and started bitching Creality out. So Creality has gone ahead and made it so you can't comment on any of their posts. Okay. They were blocking everyone for a while, and then like Naomi yelled at them and they stopped. So they, you know, somebody at the company realized what the heck is going on. But now they're also doing rewards and whatnot. So they're like, you can get paid out, cash out. Yeah. So here's the thing. People paying you to use their websites is, you know, not uncommon. On printables, you earn points. So if you download stuff, you upload stuff, people download your model, you earn points. You use that points to get proofs of filament, proofs of wear, mugs, whatever. So they're paying their users through points to use their site. Thangs has paid sponsors. I don't think they have any right now in terms of like creators, but they sponsored some of my streams last year. So companies want you to use their service. They're going to use some sort of incentive to either get you to use their website or to get you to find out about their website. So Creality is having this where you can cash out. So in the previous update of Creality Cloud v13, which they're on version 13. I didn't even know this site existed until last week. So they're not doing too good anyways. But now we take it possible to cash out. So they use like credits or coins or whatever. So you buy coins or whatever, and you can use that to pay for models. but you can also use that to like pay cash out. So now they're kind of like incentivizing people to upload stuff to their site that has crap for quality control because, well, you want people to download, right? So there are tons of models on this site that are just not from original creators or paid models that were uploaded by others. Like that, this Eastman model has been on the site. I gotta drop my Z offset 1 second. That Eastman model has been on that site. It's still there. It's still there, and you can report models, but you have to sign in. It's not great. Oh yeah, that wasn't gonna stick too well. Except for the one area where my bed's screwed up already. So yeah, so people have been complaining to Creality Cloud, going, "Hey guys, what the shit? Why are all these, models on there?" And what have they done is basically nothing. People have tried to contact them about models, and they've blocked them, they've banned them, they've muted them. You could still find tons of models on there. They have issues such as, search Voron, okay? Here's some Voron models, okay? I have no idea who Philippe is, or hodoe@naver.com, but this is the Voron test cube. It is licensed under Creative Commons. The only license they have on their website is Creative Commons. Voron parts are OpenGL v3, okay? Which means if you want to share those models, you are free to do so, but they have to be under the same license. So immediately, anyone uploading any Voron model to this website is breaking the license of the model, because it only is Creative Commons license. It's an incompatible license. So there's that issue. Which 3D printer to choose? Yeah, they get the print farm. There is the Clipper. Oh, hey, Voron stuff. But yeah, it's don't use this site. Oh, hey, the Iron Man. Okay, everyone's seen this Thingiverse. Let's go Iron Man. So here we go. This is Dave. Everyone has seen this Iron Man suit, because everyone, when they get a 3D printer, they go, "I want to make an Iron Man suit." They go and Google Iron Man, and then this shows up. Everyone has seen this model and this page, okay? I guarantee you, if you have used a 3D printer, 95% of you have seen this exact page by Dave. He is the creator of this, okay? This is not Dave. This is not Dave's image, or this is Simpleness. This is not Simpleness's image of all of Dave's stuff. This is not Simpleness. Like, it's shameful how much stolen stuff is on this website. Can 3D models be copyrighted or patented? Well, here's the problem. It's just an STL file, okay? An STL file, here's a little cap I printed for my car, for my 12-volt plug on my car, okay? This is just an STL file. So you can't DRM it. STLs don't have that ability as far as I'm aware. Now, Maker's Muse did a video a little while back where he showed how you can watermark an STL. So he's showing ways that you could watermark it. So if you watermark it, well, in that case, you might be able to get by with at least being able to prove that, hey, this model that you have on your site is my model. It's watermarked. But the problem is, these are pictures straight pulled from Thingiverse. And obviously, if you had a watermark on these models, it wouldn't do anything because they don't care. Somebody became a member and I missed the call out, I think. JD, thank you for becoming a member. And then another problem they had on their site was you could import. So on printables, you can import your Thingiverse model. So if you have an account on Thingiverse, you can go on printables log into your account and import all your models from Thingiverse. Okay, it's a really good tool. They have something like this too. However, you don't need to log into your account. You just need to type the name of an account and it imports everything. No, hey, are these your model? There's no, it just, here you go. So there's that. What else? There's a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, there's stolen models. Like, that is totally that. It's a joke. The site is a joke. And they're not doing anything about it. They block people. You can report models if you create an account on the site. I'm not going to create an account on the site. They don't need to know any of my information. Content scrape. Exactly. I guarantee you it was a content scrape, because here's the thing. Nobody's going to use a site if there's nothing on it already, right? You chicken and egg, okay? Come to my website and share your 3D models, but nobody's on your website. Yes, but I need people to get on my website so that we have models, but there's no models on your website. Why would I use your website? You need something. You need something there already. You need to plant the seeds before people can come and grow their crops, right? You need to till the earth first. So I guarantee you, they just either had bots do it. You see the usernames, username, user, blah, 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 blah. Okay, user numbers. I guarantee you those are probably bot generated accounts that just scraped. Or here's another thing people were finding. People were reporting models and getting them taken down, and the models were gone. Until you went to their site up here and changed it from international and changed it to the the Chinese website, where there's a whole bunch of other models that are stolen because they're deleting the English version of the model, not the Chinese version of the model, or Mandarin. I'm like, yeah, whatever it is. But yeah. So even more stolen stuff, and now it's hidden behind language barrier. But yeah, so that's kind of going on right now with Creality Cloud. A lot of people aren't too happy with them, obviously. And this kind of is bringing me back to Creality as a whole in, well, what the hell is Creality even doing right now? Like let's pull up Creality. So Creality, you all know Creality. They make 3D printers. But what have they been doing in terms of like the market for 3D printing? Like we're gonna critique the company as a whole now, okay? Yeah, they have the Surmoon and the Hallett, but we're looking at the Ender. What do they have? They have a V-wheel bed flinger. They have another V-wheel bed flinger. They have a V-wheel bed flinger with a bed probe. A V-wheel bed flinger with a bed probe and a direct drive. It's the same machine, okay? It's Malibu Stacy with a hat, okay? Old Simpsons reference for those that actually remember watching good Simpsons. It's Malibu Stacy with a hat. It's, you know, it's the same thing every year. It's been stagnated forever. I guarantee you there's still extrusions they're using back from CR10 days or CR30 days. But yeah, it's nothing innovative. They're stealing stuff. So yeah, somebody asked me a little while ago, what's my Ender 3 V2 up to? Here it is. I pulled out the power supply the other day because that's apparently another thing they're doing. The Ender 3 Pro that you can buy at Micro Center for 99 bucks. It's advertised as having a Meanwell power supply, and apparently a bunch of them don't. And even some of the V2s don't have Meanwell. So I pulled mine apart to see if it has a Meanwell. It does, so I'll give them credit. It does have a Meanwell. But part of me didn't want to put it back together, so I took it apart. And there you go, Ender 3 V2. I'm gonna use it for something. I don't know what yet. I've got a few crazy ideas. I can already see Smithers saying it's a new hat. It's a new hat! But yeah, that's what Creality is. It is literally Malibu Stacy with a new hat. They don't really change it. Like the S1, okay? The S1 is apparently a good printer. Joel has done a good review on it. A few others have done reviews on it. It seems like a good printer, but like, let's actually look at it here, folks. I can't zoom in. Web 2.0 bullshit. The tool head is nice. It's got a knockoff, you know, bed probe. It's got a fan. So let's get rid of the tool head, okay? A touch screen. honestly, who cares about touchscreens? Whatever. A light, okay, so they got a strip of neopixels for, or, you know, this is like, I paid $10 for like 100 meters of this stuff. So they got the lights, which lights are good, but whatever. A flex plate, which they had on a previous model. V-wheel, different type of extrusion, but there's still a V-wheel. Like, it's a new case. It's the same machine as an E3 V2 with a different extruder and lipstick. Like, it's not different. It's not, they're not changing much. And it's, again, iterative. Everything is iterative. Iterative, English. So yeah, it's just kind of like, Creality is just kind of like in a holding pattern. So, make a belt printer out of it? Maybe. There's a few ideas I got floating around. But it's just disappointing that, you know, the Ender 3 was, you know, when it first came out, it was a game changer in 3D print. It was, you know, compared to, like, it replaced the ANET A8. And now we look back at the ANET A8 as a dumpster fire hazard, okay? But at the time, it was the cheap 3D printer that was good enough. And we all modded the hell out of it. Are we going to get to the point where we look back at the Ender 3 and be like, yeah, that wasn't a good printer. We just, you know, compared to what else it was cheap enough that it was good enough. But yeah. Creality is basically the Stacy Malibu trying to fight against the Lisa Lionheart doll because they're afraid of new things. Pretty much. What is a Creality lizard? I don't know. What, a switch wire? I'm not going to do a switch wire conversion. I already have a switch wire and there's really not that much of a difference. So yeah, I don't know. When do we care about when models get stolen and not when they copy hardware? The patent was only granted in the US. It was rejected in many other markets, including the European Union, for the standoffs. And a lot of people, including myself, believe standoffs aren't a thing due to prior art and should not have been patented in the first place. So there is that argument there. This is direct copy one-to-one. Like, at least a CR, you know, or a Dragon has, like, no parts commonality with a Mosquito. So we go down this road. But also, straw man argument. You can disagree with one thing and agree with another thing, or disagree with different things for different reasons. So it doesn't all have to be straight down the line because I believe X. That means it has to apply to everything. Yeah. I guess that's really all there is to say about that. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Don't use Creality Cloud. And the thing is, I don't think a lot of people are using it because I didn't even hear about it until like last week when everyone started bitching about it. And the only accounts I see on there are not accounts of any creators that are like creators. So it's all just people creating stuff to share, and I don't think anyone's actually using the site. Because I actually tried to use the site to see how good of like a site it is, like as a, hey, I just randomly found this site, I want to look for models. It's not even that good of a site. So, Ender to Legacy. Okay, here's the thing. When people take an Ender 3 and convert it to like a Core XY, or is the Mercury? I think the Mercury uses an Ender 5, which is already box frame. But when you're pretty much completely destroying the printer and only using a few parts and adding like double the parts of new stuff, is it really a conversion at that point? Is it really a conversion at that point? Or is it just, I'm using some leftover parts to build something completely new? So, is an STL software art or what? It is, it's a design. I am not a lawyer, but as far as I'm aware, if you design something, you can patent it. You own trademark, you own on it. So if I were to create a something and somebody were to copy it one-to-one, there is argument there for theft, especially if it's like a paid model, because you're especially if something's released under a license. Voron parts are released under a license. It's the GPL v3 license. It allows commercial use, but it allows you to share the files with attribution. So if you take a Voron, so if you were to take that machine right there, all the parts for that machine, and you were to modify the parts, okay, the STLs, and you were to sell it as something else and claim you created it, we would have grounds that you violated the license, and that could go to court because these parts were released under this license, you violated said license, and you've distributed the product and not given all the proper accreditation and everything. You violated the license. If you violate a license, that is the law. So yeah. Do you have any Z banding issues with the Minion? Not really. I don't really see anything. Then again, I haven't really printed like a completely square, tall rectangle. But of the prints I have printed with it, I don't notice anything that it would stand out as Z-banding issues. So. Copy is granted in the US, patent, trademark, or something else. Yeah, and then you have prior art. Prior art is a thing, right? So if you were to create something and somebody down the line tries to patent it, you can go, hey, I've been like, I'm not going to get into it, but say you were a bunch of people that designed a 3D printer that's been around for years, and then somebody all of a sudden one day decides to try and trademark that. You can go to the trademark office and be like, yeah, on this date, somebody tried to trademark it. However, as you can see here from this GitHub page from 4 years ago, it's been around since then. They did not create it. There is prior art of it. So you have that argument there, which is, you know, if you try to patent something, there's prior art, you might get it through, but if somebody, you know, calls it out, you might not. And that happens both ways. Thomas, thank you for becoming a member. Creality Lizard 4 mil Kickstarters under copper. Oh yeah, their scanner, right? Creality Lizard. Also, who is giving people who sign up for Artex sues Creality for alleging copying 3D scanner software? Yeah, so it's software they're stealing. So yeah, they're like, you know, this is stealing. If you're stealing the software, like if you're Control C, Control V, yeah. But if you design something that uses, you know, a standoff, and you design it before the patent goes through because you don't think the patent's going to go through because it's been rejected in other places, and it happens to go through and then you lose, well, there's arguments there. But stealing is stealing. But that's another thing Creality's doing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a slippery slope. I am not a lawyer. I don't sell anything. I'm just a guy on the internet. Yeah, I think the Kickstarter got taken down. Starter. Creality Lizard. Yeah, there's nothing on the page. Is the subject of an intellectual property dispute and is currently unavailable. There you go. But here's the thing. They raised $4 million. Why are you giving Creality, an established company, $4 million for a product they already have functioning things of and they have the capability to sell? It's like the AM5 or whatever, or the M5 AnchorMate M5. How much money has AnchorMate made so far? 10,000 people have given more than 10. Who does this? Does anyone actually do the give $2 to support just because? Why would you do that? So right now their cheapest option is $6.29. They have raised $8.6 million Canadian of their $63,000 goal. That's BS. 10,000 people have gone, hi company that's established and is a multi-billion-dollar company, please take my money for no reason, with no guarantee you'll actually deliver the product as it is right now. Have fun. Why? Why would you do that? It's because you have the chance of getting it cheaper. That's why. That's the only reason people do it. If this was just, you know, get your name on the list, no, but you can get it for half off. But the product's not even out yet, so is it even worth half of what it is? Thomas, member for 9 months. What will you do at the end of 3? I got a few ideas floating around. Can't pick or choose. Yeah, I can. I just did. I believe that a hot end that uses standoffs should not have been something that has been granted a patent for due to prior art. It's been rejected in other grounds, but the US patent system granted it. I don't know why, but I don't agree that patent had gone through. Now, am I going to sell dragons? No, I'm not going to break the law personally by selling it, but I bought mine and I received mine before that went through. I'm in a different country. And I don't believe the patent should have been granted. But in this case, I can say, hey, this is a direct one-to-one copy. My mosquito does not look like a dragon. It has standoffs, but so does a design I found from 2015 on Thingiverse that has standoffs. I can go find it if I want, but I found a hot end from 2015 that has standoffs. That's prior art before it was patented in the US. So Did they steal from that Thingiverse page? I am not a lawyer. But it is what it is. But yeah, I don't agree. Don't give big companies money for Kickstarters. Kickstarters are to get people started, you know. You design something in your garage and you need some money to get it going. Yeah, do a Kickstarter. But if you support a Kickstarter, it's akin to investing. It's akin to gambling. If you give money to a Kickstarter, be prepared that if you don't ever see anything, you have to accept that risk. Okay, we're actually printing now. So let's see here. Let's get the mobile camera up. So I don't know if, I think it does the thing where it ramps up to the speed over different layers, but we'll see. We'll see. What happens if someone designs a 3D printable file of something that's patent trademark, like taking apart a car and change the color logo applicable? Well, here's the thing. Look what Honda's doing right now. Honda sent a cease and desist to Printables, Prusa, saying anything on your website that says Honda, take it down. We're claiming it. Now, could they have argued that? Could they have fought it? Maybe, but they just took it down because it's not worth it. It really depends. It all comes down to how much you're willing to pay your lawyers. A lot of that is. Again, I am not a lawyer. I'm not giving any legal advice because I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time, let's be honest. But it comes down to who has the lawyers. So if you design a little part and put it on Thingiverse, I made a little shift knob for Honda and put it on Thingiverse, and then Honda lawyers show up at your house the next day, what are you really going to do? It really depends. So I went ahead and ordered the LDO 2.4 in the E3 Revo Voron. But now, should I swap the linear rail driven ender to belts on my Z? If you don't have any issues, don't fiddle with it. That's my opinion. My principal asked why we weren't upgrading to the M5. Then I showed him what even the junk tier time we're retiring are doing with those speeds. Oh yeah, upgrading. 250 ain't that fast. 250 2500 Excel is not that fast. It's not. Remember, we were doing a bone stock Ender 3 that is now in a box full of parts. Was doing 300, 5000. So. Jeffrey, 10, thank you, appreciate it. What is the best 3D printer? I cannot give an answer to that. It depends on your budget and your use case and what you need in the machine itself. Are you somebody with a budget but needs, are you somebody with a budget? Can you only spend $200? Hey, this is pretty okay. Can you spend 400? Can you spend 1,000? Can you spend 10,000? Do you need certification to be safe to use it in a school environment, in a work environment? Do you require a heated bed, or do you require to print certain materials? There is no one answer to that. It is depends. Japanese companies think different about hearsay of the quality for. Yeah, look at Nintendo. Nintendo is very well known to go after pretty much anything that uses any Nintendo IP. All the time you see people make mods or recreations of old Nintendo, and they get slapped with that IP with lawyer all the time. They get hit with cease and desist all the time. So I think it's more I think it's like a Japanese company thing, where it's like that just kind of don't touch our IP, it's ours. But yeah, look at Nintendo. They go after people all the time with cease and desist. And then Ford's like, oh hey, the Maverick uses printed. We got stuff you can print stuff for it. Here's some mounts for it. YOLO, have fun. So, yeah, E3D had to rename the Hemera. Yeah, because it was the Hermes, and somebody else owned the patent, and it wasn't even remotely manufacturing related. And they're like, yeah, because here's the thing, the way patents work is you have to defend it. Okay, I'm pretty sure trademarks too, or trademarks and not. If you don't defend it, you can lose it. Okay, there's a reason why Q-tips is a generic name, and why Google doesn't like when you use the term Google for searching, because if something becomes common, you can't go back in and now you got to stop it now. Well, it's part of the common language now. So. I just got a 45,000 Fortis 250 MC running at my work. The Ender prints faster. Yep. A surprising amount of the really expensive 3D printers aren't fast and don't print that good, but they excel in other qualities. Our Voron licenses being defended. There is stuff involving people, yes, maybe potentially. I'm not part of that, so I can't say. I'm just the guy who makes YouTube videos on the channel. It's a toy Yoda. It's not a Toyota, it's a toy Yoda. Okay, so the first layer is probably a little too low. Oh well. We'll fix that later. How do you run your preheat? Manually. I usually do a manual preheat. I'll just set the bed temperature, and then I'll go slice whatever I am, upload it, and then wait a couple minutes and hit start. Do I think backers are absolutely needed on 350 build? Backers have only been around for a couple months, and Vorons have been around for a couple of years, and your money may vary. Build stock, and then modify is my go-to. If it ain't broke, you may not need it. Some people don't have issues, some do. It really depends. I noticed the LDO Voron serial. Is that serial? That I think LDO just started doing that on their own to kind of keep track of their own kits. It isn't anything related to Voron. What is my most reliable? Right now, V226. Oop. V226. This is my oldest V2. I literally like start prints and like walk out of the house before the hot end's even at temperature. So. Wacky Deadshot 10, thank you, appreciate it. Just started 3D printing, bought an Ender 5 Pro after a month of owning it. I've now started a Voron 2.4 build. Awesome. Info was great on your channel. Cheers, and also morning. Good morning. Polymaker should be contacting you about sponsoring. You got sent his way on last night. Cool. I don't think I've ever used Polymaker filament. I think, are they US based? I'm in Canada, so a lot of the time, like what's easier, inexpensive in the US is unable to get or expensive up here. But yeah, sure. I know they sponsor Loyal Moses' streams on Twitch, so, and apparently it's pretty good stuff. So if I get contacted, I'll hat our backers for. Hat our backers for? Hat back for? There we go. Look at me. I'm one of the cool kids, guys. I'm wearing my hat backwards. I'm cool now. You guys want to buy some NFTs? I believe I said that. But yeah, if you want to buy Only Benchies hats or Only Benchies merch, link in the description or type !merch in chat. Help support the channel. Polymaker is a Chinese filament but a US company. Okay, so it's an American company and they just make it. Okay, that's fine. I have like no qualms about where people make stuff. Like, it's a global market nowadays. Companies just make it wherever you can make it. What are backers for? Oh, okay. Okay, class, we're going on an adventure. Let me get my not mobile camera, but my camera with a 8-foot extension cable. How is USB after like 10 feet anyways? So what is a backer? Okay. A backer is somebody who gives money to a company on Kickstarter for no reason. See this right here? It's probably hard to see, but it's a backer. So the thinking is, and I'll share it here, or see if I can find it, or Sanity probably has it already for some reason. But let me see if I can actually find the GitHub page. Okay, I think this is it. But TLDR, your extrusions are aluminum and your rails are steel. Sometimes different types of steel, and they're all pretty much the same type of aluminium. But aluminum and steel expand differently. Okay, so as your machine heats up on an enclosed printer, your once straight rail and extrusion is going to bend a little bit. So the thinking is because aluminum expands more than steel, it bows, okay? Or the other way, one way or the other. So by putting a backer on the opposite side of the extrusion as your rail, you make a sandwich. So you have steel, aluminum, and then steel, or in the case of the ones I got on here, titanium. And by doing that, it basically prevents the extrusion from turning into a sandwich, and it keeps it straight. So apparently on some machines running backers, you don't even need to do a pre-soak because it doesn't move. It doesn't do the bowing, because with your pre-soak, you kind of let everything normalize and you're good to go. But if you start it too soon, it bows. So yeah. There you go, Sanity linked it there. Polymaker is Shanghai. Okay, like LDO, Jason from LDO is in California, but LDO is based out of Shenzhen. A US presence is okay. Okay. I have backers on. You have backers on your Micron. How extrusions are this long? Okay, well, whatever floats your boat. Here's the thing. I don't have backers on V226. I've never noticed an issue. But it's a 250. On a 350, you'll probably notice the issue more. If you're running them on a Micron, okay. But that's what it is. It's basically you're making a sandwich. Hey, it's starting to move a little faster. Should I still let my chamber get to 45C with backers? Try it, honestly. I haven't printed a lot on the Trident since I put the backers on, but I did do a print like right after and it printed fine, but it wasn't that big of a print. It's hard to say. On smaller prints, you probably won't notice as much versus bigger prints, especially if you're printing a full plate of things. So what would be a good test is load up a PIF plate, like a 300mm PIF plate of Voron parts, and just hit print. So as soon as the bed reaches temperature and the nozzle reaches temperature, it'll start printing. And then stop it after the first layer and see how the first layer consistency is. And then wait for the printer to turn back to room temperature. And then do your normal pre-soak cycle. So 10 minutes, 30 minutes, however you normally pre-soak for. And then do it again and then compare the first layer. So if there's any difference, hey, you might still have to pre-soak. If the first layer is perfect, hey, you might not have to. So Micron with backers is strong. I'm stuck between a Trident and a 2.4. The machines aren't that heavy. You should be able to pick them up and move them out of the way if you're stuck between them. Like there is room between a Trident and 2.4. You shouldn't be getting stuck between there. Are you using Clipper? No, it is bone stock right now. All we've actually done is we've bumped up the accelerations because the stock machine firmware is 1,000, and we can do better than that. So we're just using what is a Micron? It's the printer we're working on tomorrow. We're doing wiring on it tomorrow, but this is a Micron. So imagine one of these, a V2, a Voron V2, built with the parts from a Voron V0. So it's 50-15 extrusions, but it's still the flying quad gantry, and then the electronics are all shoved in the bottom there. So it's like if a V2 and a V0 had a baby. That's what we're working on tomorrow's stream. We're wiring up the controller board. Finally. What time is it anyway? 7:30. So for the stream today, we're probably going to end around 8. I didn't plan on doing a full stream today. I had to run around and do a bunch of family stuff today. I was almost in a suit for a stream. That would have been fun. But yeah. So we're probably just going to do like a 2-hour stream today. This is like kind of the plan going forward for Fridays. It's just going to be a random hangout stream. And then how it'll work is I've got a few people that want to be on as like guests. So maybe do rotating guests or one-off guests or whatever it is. It's always a grab bag. Do I ever use my V0? Yeah, I do use it occasionally. I gotta fix an issue with the bed right now. I'm having issues with the bed thermistor. I think I gotta open up the back and make sure it's actually crimped properly. That's what it seems to be. But the problem is I don't really use it because I've got 3 full-size, 4, including the toasty down there, other machines. So I do use it. I've brought it to people's houses to show them because it's, you know, it's an easy printer to bring around. But here's the problem with my V0. I still got like a V00 under there that we're gonna do some mods on at some point. I originally built the V0 as a small print. Like I was gonna use it for like little models. Like if I needed to print anything small detail, I was gonna do that. But then I got a resin machine. And then I got more big Vorons. So it's kind of like its use case has been limited and limited and limited. And now the Micron has a Revo in it. So if I want to swap little nozzles easy, I'm just going to use the Micron. So reasons to use the V0 keep getting less and less. So, but yes, I do use it occasionally. It is loaded with filament. It does, actually it's off right now. I could think of a better Voron stuff for the cost for the Micron. Oh yeah, the Micron is totally not any rhyme or reason a practical build. It does not make any sense to spend the money on a Micron other than the fact you just want to build a Micron. It's a Gucci build. I prefer building printers more than printing with them. I got a room full of printed stuff, but I don't run a print farm. One, I do everything in this one room. So I don't record in this room. I don't like streaming in this room when the printers are running. So, you know, that 3 days a week, I can't really have any prints running. But I don't actually, I'm not always printing. If you want people that print a lot, you know, Filament Frenzy, It's a Boy in Space on TikTok. Joel runs his print farm selling Flexi Dragons. Like, they're always printing. I don't. I do print stuff that I use occasionally, don't get me wrong. I print a lot of fucking Voron parts, that's for sure. But that's, I build printers as a hobby. The building of the printers and the modding of the printers, that's kind of the hobby more than the printing itself in my case. You have 2 V0s? I have 3 V0s. I've got that V0. I've got my original V00, and then I have the Lecter V0 that we're going to give away someday whenever E3D gets the Sanjay Foundation set up so that I can do a... they're working I spoke to Claire. They are working on getting the Sanjay Foundation as a registered foundation with YouTube. So that way I can do a live stream, and during the live stream, if you donate during the live stream, it goes into the foundation. YouTube doesn't take a cut. And that way we can do a live stream fundraiser without me touching the money, because I don't want to touch the money at all. I've been wanting to do a fundraiser for, you know, since whatever, since you know, but I don't want to collect funds. I don't want to be touching the money. I want it going straight into the foundation, so I have to wait for that to get all set up. So once that's done, part of that fundraiser stream, and it will be an all-day stream, and I've spoken to a few companies. We're going to have stuff to give away. Part of that is I'm going to put that V0 in a box, and somebody's going to get it. Worldwide, or almost worldwide, I think. So. What would you say is the most practical 3D printer to build or a lineup? It really depends on what you're looking to get out of the machine. Print farms don't use Vorons for a reason. Vorons are expensive machines, and yes, they run fast, but you have to sell a lot of, you got to sell a lot of benchies to make their cost practical. That's why if you see a lot of print farms, there's like 2 tiers of print farms. You have the print farms that are all Enders, like they're Ender 3s or CR10s or Ender 2s, or they're like cheap KPS 3 type printers. So either you go budget printers and get a lot of them, and you just got to do maintenance often, or you go the Joel Telling, the Pooch route, where you just get a shit ton of Prusas because they just work and they're reliable, and you take them out of the box, you put them on the shelf, you hit print, and you go, and they just work. So you either spend more for more reliability, or you spend less but have to do more tinkering, but you can get more printers, so you can do more output. Is it Galactic Armory, the guy who does all these Star Wars like helmets and props and whatnot? He runs all like CR10s or CR30s and whatnot. And every time I see a video of his like setup, okay, this printer is down for maintenance, and I got to fix that one over there. Like you see. And then you look at like Joel's setup or Pooch's setup, and he's got Enders or Bruce's running all day. So, yeah. Design goal of Voron printers, cool printers. I think the actual like, go on the Voron Design website. There you go. Go to vorondesign.com. There's a whole blurb here. Print farm selling speed benchies. Well, in that case, I'm just going to take a blob of melted plastic and say it's a speed benchy. When I have 3 Mark IIIs, it's great for nonstop printing. Exactly. I would love, if I ever get like a second location, if I ever actually get a proper setup, like not in my basement in this tiny room, I would love to actually start doing print farm stuff. Like either selling like Voron parts, you know, not part of PIF. Anything on this channel, I try to keep separate from Voron. I am a member of the Voron team. I am on the Voron team. I'm an admin on the Voron Discord. But this channel is my own thing. And because it is, you know, well, it's now my job. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, links in the description, consider becoming a member. But because this is my job, I don't do anything Voron related on my channel or as part of my business at all. I build Vorons, don't get me wrong, but you know, the words and opinions on this channel are my own. I don't sell any Voron merch. This is not a Voron channel, it's a Nero 3D show. So I try to keep those at least somewhat separate. You know, it's not perfect, but yeah. So if I say anything on the show that is not the expressed words and opinion of the Voron design team, caress that like button. Exactly. I doubt you can have more than output with 20 enters versus 5, Prue says. Half the fleet. It depends. And they are slow, but they just work and the output is good. That is a true thing. Remember, if you need to 3D printing, resin is different, but additive manufacturing via FDM methods, okay, does not scale. If you want to print 1 cube, where did all my cubes go? If you want to print 1 cube, it takes 30 minutes. If you want to print 2 cubes, it takes 60 minutes. Now, you could run the printer faster, but even then, okay, if you run the printer faster, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, it does not scale. The only way to cut down on production time of multiple units is multiple machines, because you only have 1 nozzle. So you either need an IDEX setup running in duplicate mode, or you need another machine. And then you have reliability. So you need as many machines as you can get for best bang for the buck and reliable. Vorons are $1,000 plus machines, $1,500 machines. They are not cheap. Okay, and the smaller ones make even less sense. At least with the bigger ones, they're kind of big, so you can print big things. I've seen people try to do PIF on a V0. Don't do PIF on a V0. You're printing like 1 part at a time sometimes. So you need machines that are bang for the buck, reliable, and production speed. So speed doesn't really matter when you have a lot of machines. It's reliability at that point, because you can print 100 things at once if you have 100 machines. It takes as long to print 1 thing as it does 100 if you have 100 machines. But if you have half the machines down for maintenance, well, then that doubles your print time. That's where it comes to bang versus like do you spend a lot on machines that are more reliable, or do you save money and get more machines, and you have to make up for that reliability with more machines? Nicholas, member for 7 months. Jeez, I can't, those numbers are getting up there. Oh, message deleted. Never mind. What cool mods do you have planned for the V2 or Trident? Not many. I don't mod my Vorons too much. I do want to do some mods to the V00 though. We're gonna do some like updated belted Z and whatnot. Bang for the buck has to be great, but maintenance, work, and cost has to be... Exactly. If you're a single person operation and you come into work and your job is to take off 20 prints out of 20 machines, make sure all the prints are good, deburr them, destring them, whatever, package and ship them every day. And you come in and machine number 19, you have to replace the thermistor, and machine 20 had a clog and the whole hot end's destroyed. because it cloud of death, and you got to rebuild that whole tool head. Well, now you got to buy parts for that, and you are now spending your time doing that. Now, if that is your job and you have plenty of time today, sure, but you know, that machine isn't running today because you got to spend all day fixing that machine, and then, oh, you didn't package those parts, and now you're working late. Like, you really got to start looking at that stuff. Felix 10, thank you, appreciate it. Shout out to your intro to Sparta 3D's filament. I know, I love their filament. The Sparkle ABS looks great and works well for me, and most money from fellow Canadian. Exactly. He's in the GTA area, I think, but yeah, it's good filament. The Mighty. He just added me. Okay, hello. For my business, I can already tell you the Voron is too expensive to make sense. I spent way too many hours on this. Exactly. The Voron is not meant to be a production machine. It is a hobbyist machine. It's meant for people who enjoy building 3D printers. Now, there are people that use them for production. I know people in PIF that have purpose-built Vorons. They built squat boys. So it's a 300 machine, but it's only like 150Z. Because if you're doing PIF on the machine and nothing but PIF, you don't need tall. So you build it lower, you get more heat in the chamber because it's a smaller chamber, less area to heat up. And they built like 300 millimeter by, I think, 150 on the Z. I want you to know if any quick change DIY tool heads. Like Pogo Pin, not really. There's the Mutant, but that's not worked on anymore. I wanted my first printer to work to see if it was something I wanted to get into, so I bought a Prusa Mini Plus. Haven't got it yet, but the Prusa Mini Plus right now is my recommendation. It's cheap enough, yet good enough and big enough to kind of check mark all the newbie friendly, because I am very hesitant to recommend a machine that needs upgrades to new people, because the last thing I know people that have tried to get into 3D printing, bought a cheap printer because, oh, everyone buy the Ender 3, it's cheap, and then they got a lemon, which happens a lot with Creality printers, where you just get a printer that just does not work, you gotta fix half of it, and they said, screw this, I'm out, and then they just drop the hobby altogether. It is my opinion better to buy a good printer to start before you start trying to mess with stuff. So I know a lot of people say, oh, buy a bad printer so you learn to fix it. That's how you learn to 3D print. No, 3D printing is, if you want to 3D print, buy a good printer. If you want to tinker with a printer, build a printer. There are plenty of good open source DIY designs out there for 3D printers. So buy a decent printer, a Prusa Mini Plus, use that to print stuff to build your own printer, or after you're good with the Prusa Mini Plus and, hey, you know what, I am interested in 3D printing, but I just like what comes out of the machine. Hey, maybe resin is for you. Go down the resin route. Or, hey, you know what, I like my Prusa Mini, I did a mod to it. I like modding it. Well, now I'm gonna go buy a cheap Ender 3 and mod the hell out of it. Like, see what I mean? Don't go into it with a project. Go into it with something that's fun, and then get a project. Take care, Oleg. Trevor, 4 months. Jeez. What stream did you short the power supply? Oh, that's an old one. That was back in the other room building Tallboy. Racking only an issue on. No, you can have racking on a Core XY, but it's easier to fix on Core XY. The problem with HBot, it can like happen. Like it's much more susceptible. If I'm not mistaken, I've never actually used an HBot. Started with a Mini Plus because it was recommended as a good beginner printer, and it definitely is that. Exactly. Printer bought metal. See, back in 2015, there were less options. How's the CAD tinkering? Getting there. I'm still learning. I'm bashing my way through it. Definitely no. Frustration with a first bad printer is a killer. How many people have bought an Ender and they just cannot get the first layer? Like, I've seen people on Twitter. I've tried helping people on Twitter where they got an Ender 3 because everyone recommends it. And if you notice, like in my videos now, I don't have the link to the Ender 3 anymore. I should just update that just to say buy a Prusa. But they just couldn't get the first layer leveled, and then they just dropped the hobby because the bed on a I got it right here. Yeah, I have a flex plate on mine, but this could be like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater ground. Like it's like an 1/8 inch aluminum plate, and it's 4 corners. This could be anything. You have no guarantee that this is flat at all. I will say though, now I got a meanwhile power supply to do something with. What if you just want to make a Voron as a project? Well, then there you go. That Vorons are meant to be hobbyist DIY machines. They're meant for people who like building 3D printers. So yeah, like I started off with a Monoprice Select Mini, and then I built a Voron, and then I built a lot more Vorons. Is the quality of a print from an original Prusa Mini? I don't have a Prusa Mini. I'm very hesitant to directly state things about printers that I don't have. However, I can infer stuff from what other people have recommended, and from what I can gather on the Mini, it's a good machine. Now, in terms of print quality, you could print a good print on any printer that is mechanically fine. So what I'm saying is, if your printer doesn't have lead screw wobble, you know, Z wobble, and your printer has a decent cooling system, if you take the time to tune a profile, you could print a good Benchy on pretty much any machine, okay? The difference is how fast and how reliably you can print that good Benchy. One of the best Benchies, I wish I still had it, I don't know where I put it. One of the best Benchies I've ever printed was on my Monoprice Select Mini, and it took 3 hours. But it was a damn good Benchy. What is the opposite of a lemon? A lime? MP Select Mini. I started with it, and then the problem is the machine is very not serviceable, and then it just like ate itself. Would a copper or other metal bed plate make sense? Not really. Copper, yeah, is more thermally conductive, but 110 bed is 110 bed. And let's be honest, in today's day and age, you're putting a flex plate on it anyways. And copper is just a lot more money. And copper's softer. Like if you had a print that was stuck to the bed and you went to chisel it out, you could bend the bed much easier on copper. I have $2,000. Okay, I have no idea about any commercial machines in that price range to recommend. Raise 3D around that price point people use. I don't know. I'm not that big of a YouTube channel. I don't have those kind of machines showing up at my door. I get the $180 KPS3. That's what my market is right now. That's what I qualify for marketing from some of these companies. So, a brass bed. If you have one and you want to play with it, brass is heavy though. On a machine like a Voron where the bed don't move, hey, it might be worth it. But honestly, aluminum is good enough. I'm printing a Pi case for it because I got a Raspberry Pi just kind of sitting on the desk and it needs a case. The hot end assembly of the KPS3, it's a weird V6 V5 hybrid. I remember the Monoprice name was like a V5. I remember that. I gotta open it up. I do gotta open it up at some point for the video review. Will I build a VZ board? I will. Board? We need more. Do I need a board license plate for my VZ board? I would like to. I know he's going down kind of the more commercial route with it, with like, and by commercial route I mean custom components on it. I see a lot of like custom machine parts. I watched this video of him like starting to build the new one. If like kits start coming out for it, maybe. But in terms of like self-sourcing, I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. How did the original V2.0 perform? I started following around the 2.1. It worked fine. It had a lot of funky issues. It did not last long. The problem with the 2.0, the 2.0 had a few issues. For those that don't know what a V2.0 is, let me take you back. Sort by oldest. Woo! I almost have 3 videos with 100,000 views. Neat. Okay, so where is my V2.0 video? There you go, V2.0. For some reason, YouTube never likes to load when I'm streaming. Any update on a possible RP24 with 80XL and one? I am not a PCB guy. I have no idea. So this is a V2.0. Okay. I was actually the first V2.0 to use tape chains. This was the test bench for tape chain to see if it worked, and it worked good enough. Look at that Cat 5 cable. 1 millimeter thick PEI stuck right to the bed. I still use this clicky switch, and for those wondering why my bed is still mounted like this, it's because I've never changed it. Cardboard box enclosure. But the problem is, if you notice, the gantry isn't like the gantry now. It's not like now where, you know, you got the front all nice and open. Before, the crossbar was in the front. So the motors were still in the back, but the crossbar was in the front. The motors crossed in the front. That was annoying. And then two, belt coffins. So these were called the belt coffins. So the belts came in and they did like a funky belt path around here to get around the motor and then come back out. And what would happen is we didn't use 625 bearings. We used 623s, and they had printed idlers. So this idler right here, this tooth idler, is actually a sleeve. It's a printed sleeve around stacked 623 bearings. And what would happen is they would explode. The plastic would just fall apart. So what would happen is it would happen in your belt coffin here, and you'd have to like take apart the whole thing and rerun the belts. It was a nightmare. And then also, if you notice the XY joints, there's no top part. It's only a bottom part. These were like M340s that went all the way into the plastic part, and they would still cant over after a while. So it worked, but it needed some improvement. So yeah. Yeah, we called them belt coffins because they kept, you know, belts kept dying in them. Ooh, the porn bots are here. So the common thinking or saying was at the time, a V 2.0 would start having issues after a couple hundred hours of printing. A V 2.1 would start having issues after a couple thousand hours of printing. The V 2.2 printed. The V 2.4 printed, but is better designed and cheaper because the 2.2 had a lot of bloat. Because 2.2 was based on 2.1, which was based on 2.0. Okay, it was updated models. 2.4 was literally designed from scratch, like completely from scratch, to lower the amount of items in the bill of material and to make the designs simpler. So I am losing my voice. We made it. Pornbot is here. That's how we know the stream's doing good. So make sure you like that smash button, because that's how I know we're doing good. Any issues with the current R2? To my knowledge, no. R2 is working just fine. Now, let's be honest. This isn't 2.4 R2. This isn't 2.4 R1. This is 2.4 3 months before release beta parts, and it's still working just fine. All I've changed is the afterburner is now self burner. That's it. What's the hardest print? Multi-material print. I think I had to print Bender here like 5 times before I actually got one that finished, and I still had a bloody layer shift right at the end. But that's because I don't have a buffer on the MMU. On the ERCFA, I mean. G10. I haven't played with G10. But I have played with carbon fiber. And it works okay. But yeah, G10's like Garrula. It's fiberglass. It's a fiberglass sheet, which G10 is fiberglass, or yeah, it's fiberglass and epoxy, which is very close to fiberglass. Or regular fiberglass. G10 is that. And then I remember fiberglass beds were like a common thing back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. So we're kind of just going back to that. I personally prefer, honestly, my go-to right now for beds is a PI flex plate, which is a little bit of glue stick. And I just use like Elmer's white glue stick because that's what I got. So a textured PI bed, which is a little bit of glue stick. That is kind of, I'm running on that machine, that machine, that machine, that machine, that machine. Yeah, I'm running that on all my machines that I use regularly. Is it okay to ABS Plus is fine. This is all ABS Plus. eSun ABS Plus was the recommended filament for the longest time, and it still is a very good ABS. If you just want to like print stuff in ABS, eSun ABS Plus is like very consistently good. It's not as stiff as regular EBS, and it has a little bit lower heat transition temperature, but you're not getting to the temperature that's an issue anyways. 2.3 doesn't exist. Technically it did for a little bit because 2.3 was based on 2.2, and then we realized no, and we scrapped it. Well, Max did. I'm not the CAD guy on the team, so. When I say we, I mean like Voron Design kind of as a non-singular person entity. Bad adhesion with glow in the dark. I haven't printed a lot. I've only actually printed 2 things in glow in the dark. I printed this Cubone skull, and this is a it's from Chelsea. It's Chaos Cortec model, and then I printed this 4-foot long flying cloud serpent on the Trident. It printed all like folded up, and this is like 4 feet long, and this printed just fine. So no layer adhesion or no bed adhesion issues. Like the arms fold and everything. Yeah, this thing glows in the dark. It's actually pretty badass. Sunlu ABS. Okay. Sunlu ABS. Hopefully they fixed it. Years ago on Amazon Canada, Sunlu ABS was on the store and it was cheap. It was like $18 a spool. So me and a few others bought a spool. It was good. It was really good ABS. So it came back in stock. It was a little bit more. It was like $22 or $25. And me and a lot of people bought a lot of it. Like I bought like 5 or 6 spools. And then it turned out that those spools were all lemons. They had like, they were contaminated and they would clog your nozzle. Like there's like debris in it or something. So it would print really good until your nozzle just clogged. And it like hard clogged. So it was super unreliable. So yeah. Any store to buy Voron parts in South America? The internet? If you're on the Voron Discord, check and see if there's a country channel for your country. Maybe, or a country close, and see if they have suggestions. Did the streams... it started at 6 p.m. and I'm probably only going to go to 8. I had a kind of busy day. G10 is great. Okay, so here's the problem with printing ABS. Saying here, G10 is great for printing ABS plus in open air, a little warping. So here's the problem though with ABS. ABS, you want to print it in a warm environment. Now you can print ABS, you know, especially ESUN ABS Plus and other ABS Pluses in an open air environment. However, you're still gonna get worse layer adhesion than in a warm environment. So while you can print ABS in an open air environment under right conditions, with right settings and good filament, you still want to try and avoid doing that because you won't get as strong parts. ABS likes to be printed hot in a warm environment and then cool down slowly as a single homogeneous block. That's how you get the most layer adhesion out of it. Do you change nozzles when changing material? No. Converting his garage to a studio. I'm actually getting a bin to clear up my garage probably next week. I want to turn it into more of a shop because I wanted to start doing more CNC stuff and I can't do that in my basement here. So I need to turn the garage into something. The problem is I live in Canada. My garage is unheated. It's uninsulated. So it's attached to the house, but I got no insulation. So whatever it is outside, it's either warmer or colder than that in the garage. And it gets down to like -20 in the winter sometimes. And that's Celsius. So we'll see how far I change the garage. Plus I use it to like store my lawnmower and shit. So I wish Prusament, honestly, Prusament ASA, good. Prusament ASA, that's what my Trident's built out of. It's good shit. Honestly, there's not that much difference between ABS and ASA. Prototype Pi Pico case, cool. I don't know if I'm actually gonna print a case for mine. I don't even know where I put it. It's in a drawer somewhere. With Stealth Burner beta closed, what does the channel say about release? What is the right chamber? Warm. The warmer, the better. If your chamber gets to 40, that's good. If your chamber gets to 50, that's good. If it gets to 60, yeah, you might start running into issues just because the printer itself. But the warmer you can get your chamber, the better. Warm enough that it doesn't warp is good. the warmer after that, the better. CNA, they were for a while, but most of my recent builds have used LDO rails to pretty good effect. They just work. I haven't had to deal with a bad rail in a long time, so. Too drastic temperature difference will tear. Well, are you talking about like if you open the door mid-print? Yeah, that might cause an issue. Yeah, it's not done yet. Like, there's still work being done on it. Like, the public beta is done, but there's still gonna be tweaks and whatnot to it. Like, what the final version will not look like what you have, or might. I don't know. I'm running ones I printed months ago, so I haven't done the CW2 yet. We're probably gonna. I'm waiting for it to be. I'm legit. I'm waiting till the CW2 is done and the stealth burner is finalized, and then I'm going to actually do a video on it. That's why I haven't like been chasing the beta, because I know that's why Trident is still running a regular afterburner. Because once the beta is done, I'm going to do a full upgrade on the Trident to the release version, and I'm going to do a video on it. That's why. So it'll be like a guide on it and whatnot. There's a surprise. Oh, I know what he's talking about, but I'm not going to tell you. Or maybe I don't, and I'm just bullshitting you. Who knows? I don't even know. Am I familiar with Loud Owl? No? Any cubic FDM SLA machines? I've never used one. Actually, no. Oh, I do have an Anycubic. I have a Photon right here. I got a Photon 2K, which is like one of the older, not older, but like a couple years old. It's fine. I haven't used like the M3 or anything like that. I don't get like contacts from those companies, so. Did I miss that, or is it just? Okay, it's bugging out right now. In a moment. Refresh cache. I don't think all these people are becoming members. Unless you are. Becoming a member is probably one of the best ways to help support the channel. But it seems to be bugging out. 1 second here. Refresh cache of current page. Are we good? There we go. Okay. Sometimes it just likes to bug out and like list a whole bunch of people who became members who did it a while ago. Thinking about the Cobra Max, seems like an interesting one, but bigger, and I'm steering. I've heard a lot of people seem to be liking those Anycubic, the Viper and the Cobra. The Cobra is just a big Viper, isn't it? But they seem to be getting good results. I know Uncle Jesse has some Vipers, I think, as his FDM machines for his farm. Okay, is it bugging out? I think it is bugging out. Stream Elements, what's going on with you? Either that or people becoming members and it's not updating. Viper stock firmware. Here's the thing, firmware honestly, it's very easy to update firmware on most machines nowadays. You throw a file on an SD card, you plug it in, you turn the machine on, you're good to go. So, yeah. It's like when people won't buy a house because the walls are not painted the color they like. It's like you can fix that pretty easily. It's updating firmware. I view as not something to really judge a printer on, because you can update it easily, versus something like, oh, you have to rebuild the whole extruder with this mod for it to work. That I view as something that shouldn't be. RIP warranty on Prusa Mini if you want to install a custom. I know, I'm not a fan of that, but nothing's stopping you from just unplugging the board and plugging in an SKR. Or any other board. Although I'm pretty sure they use like their own connectors or something. But yeah, you can always just, you know, swap out the board. It's like $30 for a controller board. Throw a Pi Pico in it. Best way to connect the Pi Zero to an Octopus UART. I like connecting them over UART because then it powers it too. What do I think about future PolyJet technology? If it comes down to a price point where it's fine and it's, you know, reliable, it'll probably be pretty good, but it's still got a bit to go if I'm not mistaken. Beats ahead of the old J-Link. Yeah, I got into 3D printing like just after like the whole, you know, having to like flash using like secondary boards and whatnot of like the Melzy days. Was it Melzy? Like the ANETs had and all that? Those old 8-bit boards. What's UART? What is UART? UART. Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. So it's basically a communication protocol. Usually it uses it's 4 wires. So when you connect, you know, a Raspberry Pi to a controller board, you got your pin out on your Raspberry Pi. You got a 5-volt pin, you got a ground pin, a TX and an RX, a transmit and a receive pin. And you cross the TX and RX. So the TX pin goes to the RX pin, and the RX pin goes to the TX pin. Okay, and it allows the boards to communicate. Think of it like USB. Okay, it's like it's 4 wires, but think of it like USB. It's just a connection protocol. It's not as fast as USB, but in the case of like for controlling 3D printers, it's fast enough that it's not an issue. And then also it's 5 volts, so it's powering the board at the same time. Another thing to, exactly, it's UART. I just call it UART. I love for AnchorMate, they had to raise $3 million to get a additional PI soft magnetic plate. So it's not even a flex plate. And then $5 million for them to put a all metal hot end. And of course, it's all proprietary, whatever. It's a V-wheel bed flinger with an app. Hope they never discontinue the app, because who knows if the printer will still even work. That's one thing I'm not looking forward to. You got Creality Cloud doing their shenanigans. You got AcreMate here with their whole AI, which the spaghetti detective, anyone? They got, you know, a built-in camera is nice. Don't get me wrong. Like some of this, I'm not saying this stuff is bad, but it's a V-wheel bed flinger with a Raspberry Pi running OctoPrint with spaghetti detective. It's nothing new, but now you have to rely on their app and their web service. Hopefully they never shut it down. Imagine you buy a bunch of these. Imagine you buy like 20 or 30 of these for your print farm. He's like, oh, I can monitor them. And 3 years in, oh yeah, we're shutting down the service. We're not going to open source it, so all the boards are locked. So you can't check, you can't do anything remote anymore. And yeah, it's done. Hopefully they don't do that. That would suck. The 5-volt is not stable for the Pi. You get, mine are running fine. I think, yeah, mine are running fine. Actually, yeah. I'm not getting undervolt errors. Imagine Fusion 3. I am not liking this having to rely on a singular company for your service to work. I am not a fan of, and also imagine, okay, you buy an AnchorMate. Like a lot of people own 3D printers from multiple, if you have more than one printer, odds are you own from different companies. So imagine you have to have the Creality app, and then you need the Anchor app, and then you need the Prusa app. And they all are different apps, and you need them all on your phone. And OctoPrint works on every 3D printer. You buy, now granted, you can't buy shit right now, but in a hypothetical perfect world, you buy whatever printer you want. You get a Raspberry Pi 02, 15 bucks. You get a Raspberry Pi cam, what, 20, 30 bucks, or even just, you know, a cheap webcam, 20, 30 bucks. You put that on every printer you have. A Raspberry Pi Zero 2, you can power off most controller boards that have a UART connection. It doesn't use a lot of power. It uses like less than an amp. So, and it works with all your printers. It's the same interface with all your printers. There's plenty of print farm software for it already if you want to connect them all at once and manage them all through one interface. Like, what? You don't have to rely on Anchor for their cloud service that scrapes all your data, and you have to rely on it and hope it never goes down. Or they start, yeah, imagine if they start charging monthly for it. You buy your 20 or 30 AnchorMate M5s for your print farm, and a year in, oh yeah, just so you know, it's now $5 a month to use the service per machine. Imagine that. What do you do in that case? They do make good cables and chargers and battery banks, apparently. Smart home stuff. Yeah. The only smart home stuff I use is Google Homes. People buy cheap old mini PCs with Celerons and 2 gigs of RAM for a few bucks. Exactly. The problem is with buying the old PCs is power. A Raspberry Pi sips juice. Using an old thin client, it might not be too bad. But if you're using like an old desktop that's like chugging down a couple dozen watts of power every day, compared to a Raspberry Pi, yeah, you might like. Right now, it's supply issue. Supply issue, I understand, but cost issue? Oh, I'm using this old computer. Yeah, you might be saving a couple bucks on the Pi, but in the long run, electricity, you might be paying more. So, great background music. Thanks. It's a synthwave. Yeah. So for those that don't know, for background music, I use Stream Beats. It's free. It's just music made for streaming, so I don't get DMCA'd by YouTube, and Sony BMG takes all my pittance of ad revenue. What grinds my gears? Misaligned gears will grind my gears. Odroid. Yeah, Tom's 3D. Tom Sandlatter. I think I said it right that time. He did a video showing you how to run OctoPrint on an old phone, but that's only OctoPrint. You can't do you can do Clipper, but you got to install like Debian. It's a lot harder to install Clipper on it. Clockwork 2 needs a new carriage. Yep. Which I see on AliExpress. There's some like machined aluminum like X gantries for Vorons. We might have some fun with V226. I don't know yet. Or I might just leave it and not care because it's working just fine. Oh, guys, don't worry. The $629 AnchorMate M5 comes with 150 grams of free filament and a toolbox. 150 grams of filament and a toolbox. Well, Anchor, I've got you beat there. I've got you beat. Because in my garbage, I have a toolbox. I have the Ender 3 V2 toolbox, okay? And I have filament. Now, is this 150 grams? Let's find out. Let me grab my postal scale here. Let's see. I'll even be generous. I'll open the package. I won't even count the weight of the package. 30 grams. Okay, so it's not quite 150 grams. So I'll give you a discount. But that's got to be worth like $80 of that $629 is the toolbox and the filament. Is it a snap-on? Actually, it is. It is. Yep. I can smell the plastic on it. At least the Prusa comes with a full spool. Literally, they oh. If you buy 2 of them, you get 2 things of 150 grams of filament. Jeez. 2,800 you get, yeah. Jeez. Why? Just... Yeah, there's the Uncle Jesse video and the... Did you watch this video? Like I have nothing against a company paying somebody to do a promotion for something. I have no problem with a company doing this, going out to Linus Tech Tips or Uncle Jesse and going, hey, we have a printer coming out soon. We will pay you to do a video where you just kind of showcase it. I have no problem people doing that, okay? As long as it's called out. Hey, this is a promotional video. Take a look at it, okay? I have no problem with that, okay? I have nothing against that. As long as you call it out at that. So I got no problem with these guys doing that. But I'm trying to find in the video here where they show off the bottom of it. Yeah, here it is. This is a solid chunk of aluminum that's been milled. Like, this is nowhere near a production unit. They don't even have production units of it right now. So this thing weighs a metric ton. Like, it's aluminum, so it's not too bad. But like, that's all machined. That's a multi-$1,000 part there, multi-$100 at least. Like, and I don't know if it's just me. Does that look like an EMA? Is that an EMA 17 or a 23 there? Does that motor look bigger than that motor? Is that just me? Like, oh yeah, apparently the production units will be cast. Like, they'll be cast in. You can cast injection mold metal, but is that an EMA 23 there? I know it's a prototype, but everything about this printer is based on prototypes. And like, Tom's Hardware gave it an award for for upcoming cool tech. They gave it an award, and it's like, they don't even have a production unit. Anyone can spit out a product that goes, hey, here's a one-off and here's some high numbers. Give us an award. How many Game of the Year awards did Cyberpunk win, or Best in Show? Don't give awards to things that don't exist yet. But yeah, for a bed flinger to be stable, moving at 250 on the y-axis, you kind of need to have a heavy bed. The bed wires on the king room are rubbing the stepper. I know, it's okay. The stepper is curved. It's chamfered. It's fine. Oh yeah, yeah. It's a U joint. It might be because it's got double shafts for the. But yeah. I don't know. I have an EMA 23 here. Oh yeah, you're right. That ain't EMA 23. Yeah, good point. I don't know. I think it's. I got nothing against the printer. I just don't think it's like the next big thing. Also, they put the screen on the y-axis or on the gantry. So if your printer's moving, you know, my print is printing, right? Okay. I got my screen mounted here. Okay. Hey, I wonder how my print's doing. Let me go into the data. Oh, I bumped it. Let's put a touchscreen on the gantry. I don't like that. Boop, boop. Oh, make sure you're printing infill when you touch that during a print. Honestly, it's probably fine. I have no idea how stable it is, but yeah. Why would you put the screen on the gantry? Are you watching somebody watch YouTube on YouTube? Have you ever watched Twitch streamers? That's like half of what variety Twitch streamers do is they just watch YouTube videos. I can't do too much of it though because YouTube will copyright strike me or something. So Linus, if this video got flagged, please don't sue me. You're cool. Thank you for trying to help me out when my channel wasn't getting properly monetized. $250 print speed. This is running 3000 Excel, 250 travels. That's the same as this. Easy to put the moving camera right next to the screen. Good point. Yeah, because the camera's on that too. Yeah, good point. Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, I think we're going to end the stream there. Again, tonight, Fridays are just chill streams. We just kind of hang out for a bit, couple hours, shoot the shit. Let this case finish, and then I'll put the Raspberry Pi in it. So tomorrow will be our regular Saturday night stream, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be wiring up the Micron for the third night. Hopefully we'll get the wiring done. We might even put some firmware on it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And then Tuesday we'll be carrying on with the Prusa and hopefully get it printing maybe. Or at least get like a test print. That'd be really cool to see. Because after that, we got some stuff we got to do. As for the Ender 3, I have no idea. I got a box of parts. Part of me wants to turn it into a belt printer and design one. Another part of me, apparently there's like a thing that turns plastic bottles into filament that you can turn that into. I might do that. We'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna roll a few ideas around the noggin, but it's getting late. I'm getting hungry. I will see you guys later. For those that became members of the stream or donated to the channel during the stream, I thank you. You help support the content and create English. I speak English. A, B, C, D. You help support the content I create and the things I do. I would not be able to do what I do without your continued support, so I appreciate that. For everyone else, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Be safe out there. Wash your hands, and cheers.